Chapter 1 The journey through time begins with selling blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dads, please keep your mind off this. Lincheng, blood donation station. Sir, you have already donated 500 cc. You really can't donate any more, or someone will die. It's okay, nurse. Look at how I look like I can't do it. Give me another 500 cc and I'll make it up. Lu Changsheng failed in the end and was kicked out of the blood donation station with the $500 bills he got from donating blood. Really, I told you it would be fine. Lu Changsheng pinched the crumpled banknotes and supported his dizzy head, and walked slowly to the vegetable market. He had not eaten meat for several days, and now that he had money, he would fix his ribs no matter what. 3 years ago, Lu Changsheng traveled to this strange world. He almost starved to death on the roadside with nothing. Fortunately, there was a system that came with him. It's just that his system is a little bit cheating. Apprentice training system. As can be seen from the name, this system mainly trains apprentices to obtain system coins, which can be exchanged for various resources. As long as a disciple is successfully trained, the system will issue a large amount of system coins, money, and even lifespan, as well as skill extraction opportunities. After the system appeared, he was also given a small shop and a chance to draw skills. Originally, Lu Changsheng had no expectations. He had not been very lucky. But when the skill introduction appeared, he was stunned. Infinite blood bar. No matter how injured the host is, it can be recovered as long as it is not killed on the spot. The skill cooldown is 24 hours. It is precisely because of this skill that Lu Changsheng can donate blood in exchange for money without restraint, which is his most important source of income. As for why he was reduced to selling blood to survive, he had to mention the career assigned to him by the system. Changsheng Funeral Home. Looking at the sign in front of the shop, Lu Changsheng became more and more irritated. This dog system would not arrange a career for himself. He had to do nothing. How could he accept an apprentice? Should you go door to door and ask if your children are interested in trivial matters? At first glance, your child is a rare genius who is rare to see in a century. Will you come with me to send care to people in another world? Even if the shit wasn't beaten out, Lu Changsheng would have pooped it clean. Lu Changsheng put down the cooked ribs and turned on the system depressedly. Apprentice training system. Host, Lu Changsheng. Age, 20 mall coin, 0. Skill, infinite health bar. Current mission, recruiting a disciple 0/1. Task reward, 100 mall coins, 20,000 bonus, and a gift pack for newbies. Lu Changsheng sighed silently. 3 years, it's been 3 years, not to mention accepting disciples, there are not even a few customers who come to consult. If he continues like this, he may not be able to complete the novice tasks arranged by the system until he dies of old age. Disciples who can be collected are detected. Please go to the West Street Market as soon as possible. Lu Changsheng was stunned, and the ribs beside his mouth fell on the table with a clack. He looked at the system prompts in disbelief and was simply ecstatic. He ignored the clearing of the dining table, took out the clothes on the chair, put a suit on himself, and rushed to the West Street Vegetable Market in a hurry, not even bothering to close the store door. Anyway, apart from a few old actors on display, there was nothing valuable in his store. It is impossible for normal people to go to his store and steal things. 3 years, 3 years. My good disciple, you made me wait so long. Lu Changsheng looked around excitedly, his eyes almost popping out of his sockets. At this moment, a small hand gently tugged on the corner of his clothes. Lu Changsheng lowered his head. A dirty little girl, about 10 years old, was staring at him pitifully. It was already late autumn in Lincheng, and the little girl was only wearing a thin tattered shirt. A cool breeze blew by, and her little hands, which were already trembling, subconsciously trembled again. Lu Changsheng frowned. The world he traveled through was not a peaceful one. It was said that in the distant frontier, humans had been fighting against the monsters, and humans were still on the suppressed side. This year alone, he's seen several frontline losses. Under this background, the lives of ordinary people have become even more miserable. He, a time traveler, was forced to sell his blood to survive, and he really couldn't afford to raise another little girl. Lu Changsheng now just wants to find an adult apprentice and quickly train him to work. He can just sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor and live a peaceful life in a few days. He has been suffering for 3 years and just wants to enjoy himself. What's wrong? After convincing myself, Lu Changsheng took out the remaining money from buying ribs from the slit of his clothes, took out a 100 note, handed it to the little girl, and said silently in his mind. Child, don't blame me. This is really my hard-earned money. It's not easy to survive in this world. I really can't take you with me. Seeing the girl let go of her little hand, Lu Changsheng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Just then, a special young man caught his attention. There is no way, the system's arrangements are too simple and crude. How can any child from a normal family read the handbook of care for the dead on the street? Lu Changsheng looked at his apprentice, and the more he looked at him, the more satisfied he became. He was tall and broad-shouldered. The most important thing was that he was so eager to learn. He looked like a good candidate for doing nothing. As long as you train him a little, you can send him to the training in minutes. Dog system. I am here. You finally became a human being for once. To be precise, I am not a human being, but thank you for your compliment. Should you accept Huang Shanming as your disciple? My good disciple, is your name Huang Shanming? It sounds like a good name. Lu Changsheng's current state is like that of a mother-in-law looking at her rich husband. The more she looks at him, the more satisfied she becomes. Just when he was about to click to confirm in the system, Lu Changsheng's clothes were gently tugged again. The little girl looked at him eagerly and handed back the 100 yuan note he gave her. Don't you want money? That the little girl shook her head gently and said nothing, but just pulled her little hand tighter. If you are not a beggar, then are you a lost child? Do you know your parents' names? That the girl still shook her head. It's difficult to handle. Then I can only send you to the Public Security Bureau. They will take care of you. The girl finally spoke, but she couldn't utter a complete sentence. She could only make a difficult sound of Abba Ababa. Lu Changsheng was startled, and he leaned down and motioned for the girl to open her mouth. The girl's tongue is severely atrophied, dry and yellow. Obviously she was mute. Lu Changsheng was stunned, looking at the girl's little face full of despair and pleading. Lu Changsheng hesitated. He didn't look at the girl again, but took a deep look at Huang Shanming. There was a long silence. Dog system that I am here, can I choose who I want as my apprentice? Lu Changsheng took a deep breath. He put on a gentle expression, looked at the girl, and asked. Child, are you willing to come with me? The girl nodded slightly. Her beautiful eyes were already filled with tears. Chapter 2. This world is more than just black and white. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Inside Changsheng Hall, the girl desperately shoveled rice into her mouth. As she chewed, her cheeks bulged slightly, like a little squirrel that had eaten too much. Eat slowly. If it's not enough, there's more. Lu Changsheng's voice was a little trembling. He saw that the ribs he had been thinking about were all eaten by the girl, and he was so distressed that he could hardly breathe. What you eat, is all my blood, my blood. The girl finished the meal like a whirlwind, and looked at Lu Changsheng timidly, her two little hands nervously not knowing where to put them. She was so hungry that she accidentally ate all the food. This was a fatal mistake. If it had been before, she would probably have been beaten to death. Child, are you still hungry? I'll make you some more. The girl was stunned, subconsciously opened her mouth, wanted to say something, but could only make a aba sound. She seemed to remember something, closed her mouth again, lowered her head, and curled herself up. Come to think of it, I can't always call you a child, right? It's not convenient. Since you can't speak, how about I give you a name? Lu Changsheng seemed to be lost in thought. How about calling you Goshengzi? A cheap name is easier to keep. If you don't speak, I'll take it as your consent. The girl got anxious all of a sudden, jumped up on the spot, looked around, and finally found a pen and paper, and started writing and drawing. Looking at the name the girl wrote on the white paper, Lu Changsheng was stunned. Gu Jia. So your name is Gu Jia? Gu Jia nodded gently. He thought the girl was illiterate, kidnapped by human traffickers since she was a child, and used to win sympathy from others. Unexpectedly, the girl not only knew how to read, but also had beautiful handwriting. It's not easy to fool her now. No, it's not easy to teach her survival skills. Lu Changsheng frowned slightly. He hadn't figured out how to convince the girl to worship him as a teacher, but the girl had already started to act. Gu Jia first put away the dishes and chopsticks, and then wiped the table, all in one go, as if eager to prove her worth. She found a broom and rag and prepared to clean the entire store again. Her movements were so skillful that she didn't look like a child, but more like a little maidservant serving her master in ancient times. Gu Jia, don't worry about cleaning first. There is something I must tell you first. Lu Changsheng snatched the broom from the girl and took her back to the table. Gu Jia thought Lu Changsheng wanted to drive her away, and she was immediately anxious. She kept gesturing up and down, her mouth trembling and whimpering in pain, and her eyes were blurred by tears. Gu Jia, to be honest, I'm not from a rich family, you should be able to see that. Gu Jia's heart sank to the bottom of the valley, and the feeling of despair quickly spread in her heart. She already knew what Lu Changsheng wanted to say. So, are you willing to be my apprentice? Lu Changsheng looked at the girl a little nervously. He was really afraid of being poor. If he didn't complete the novice task, he could only sell blood again. Gu Jia was stunned, the light reappeared in her numb eyes. She looked at Lu Changsheng uncertainly, only wondering if she had heard it wrong. You don't have to be too scared. Funerals are actually very simple. And being able to send someone off for the last time and let them go decently is also a great thing with immeasurable merits. The most important thing is that there are few competitors in our industry, you see. Lu Changsheng didn't continue, because he saw that Gu Jia had already burst into tears and nodded excitedly, as if he was afraid that if he hesitated for a second longer, Lu Changsheng would change his mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully accepting a disciple. Disciple number 001. Name, Gu Jia. Age, 12 years old. Equipment skills, none. Reward, 100 mall coins, 20,000 yuan. Do you want to open the novice gift package? Not yet, the reward money is credited to my card. I am afraid that cash will be robbed. The bonus has been credited. Ding dong. Looking at the news that the money has been credited, Lu Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the girl's frightened and timid eyes, his heart couldn't help but twitch. Let's go, Gu Jia, from today on, you are my eldest disciple. I will take you to buy some clothes, take you to take a bath, and buy some more ribs. We have money now. Plenty of ribs. Before Gu Jia could react, she was held by a warm big hand. She stared blankly at the man who called himself a master. The smile on his face was so gentle. For some reason, a thought suddenly flashed through Gu Jia's mind. This time, maybe, she won't be thrown away again. Shopping mall. After cleaning herself, Gu Jia stared blankly at the mirror in front of her. The girl on the other side of the mirror was wearing a pink dress, looking elegant and graceful, just like the fairy she imagined, in Gu Jia's previous memory. Her world was only black and white, and only the muddy gray, she didn't even know. That clothes could be so bright and beautiful. 1980. Damn. Do I have to sell my blood 4 times to buy this piece of children's clothing? How many spare ribs can I get back? Lu Changsheng stared blankly at the numbers on the tag, unable to believe his eyes. He still wears the work clothes he brought with him in the store, and he has not been willing to change them for new ones in 3 years. Lu Changsheng calmly put down the tag on his clothes and whispered to his apprentice, this store is too expensive. Let's find another one and use the remaining money to buy ribs, okay? Gu Jia nodded. Silently she took off her beautiful clothes. After changing back to the tattered clothes, she had already understood a truth at a young age. Some things, if they are not there when you are born, they are destined to never be there again. The girl followed Lu Changsheng obediently, without any reluctance or regret. She even, never looked back once. Lu Changsheng looked at his sensible disciple and seemed to see a familiar figure, the same helplessness, the same failure to seek. He took a deep breath, which turned into a sigh. Gu Jia looked at his master in confusion, not knowing why. That's all. Who made you my first apprentice? Lu Changsheng took the girl back to the store and said domineeringly to the waiter, wrap up the dress just now and the few others I tried on before. The last pink skirt will be put on directly by my apprentice. The waiter hurriedly changed his disgusted expression and greeted him warmly. The current situation was difficult, and it was rare for a customer to spend so much money buying clothes for their children. She was afraid that Lu Changsheng would regret it later, but in a moment she had packed the items and handed them over respectfully. Lu Changsheng didn't care either. No matter where he was, there would always be snobbery, and it was not worth mentioning. Gu Jia wore a new dress that only fairies can wear, letting the master's big hand hold her, like a beautiful doll, and walked out of the mall with a blank look on her face. "Let's go, master will buy you ribs." Lu Changsheng's voice was trembling, as if his heart was bleeding. Gu Jia stared at the tall figure quietly. Her world has color for the first time. Chapter 3 Newbie Gift Pack, Xiantian Gong, and Xintianyou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At night, Gu Jia's small body curled up into a ball and hid in the corner of the bed. She wasn't used to being covered with quilts when sleeping, so Lu Changsheng could only cover her with the quilt over and over again. Seeing that his good disciple finally fell asleep, he quietly left the room. The small store provided by the system is not large, half of it is used for business purposes, and the other half is used for residence. 2 bedrooms and 1 living room are a small world belonging to the master and apprentice. Dog system, I am here. Open the newbie gift package. Congratulations to the host for completing the novice mission. Gifted skills, innate skill LV1, master and disciple edition, Xintianyou. The task has been refreshed. Do you want to view it now? Don't worry, I know all about this skill. What does the master-disciple version mean? The skills of the master-apprentice version can be equipped to the apprentice, and the host can automatically obtain the apprentice's 1 level higher skill, prostitution for free. I've finally made it through. Do you know how I spent these 3 years? Did you know? Did you make it? Host, please calm down. The apprentice's training still needs your supervision. All skills are very weak in the early stage, and your task is still very arduous. Lu Changsheng watched the introduction of skills silently. Xiantian Kung LV1, a body-refining method inherited from ancient times that can strengthen the practitioner's physical body. LV1 strength is twice that of an ordinary person. Xintianyou, the ghost clan's unique movement technique can greatly increase the host's movement speed and cannot be noticed by others when moving. What does the level after the skill mean? Can it be upgraded? Keep using it and your skills will gradually upgrade. After LV3, monster crystal cores are needed to improve. All monster crystal cores can be purchased in the mall. Lu Changsheng curiously opened the crystal core store and was frightened by the long string of zeros on the spot, grass. Why don't you go and grab it? 10,000 apiece. Do I want to take on 100 apprentices? It's only 1 in 3 years. Do I have to wait 300 years? In addition to the task of recruiting apprentices, you can also get mall coins by helping apprentices improve their skill levels. That's pretty much it. By the way, are there any drugs in the system mall that can make Gu Jia speak again? Regeneration pill. Price, 1,500, take less. System, this is my first apprentice. You can't bear to see her unable to speak for the rest of her life, right? Give me a discount no matter what. What do you think of 100? The bargaining function in the mall is not yet open. Cheapskate, drink cold water. So what is my new mission? They should also give mall coins. Current mission, equip the apprentice with skills and upgrade the skills to LV3. Task reward, 1,000 mall coins, 50,000 bonus, lifespan plus 20, 1 chance to draw skills. Lu Changsheng looked at the bedroom with the door ajar. Under the dim light, that little figure hugged his new clothes tightly, as if he was afraid that if he let go, everything would turn into bubbles like a broken dream. Lu Changsheng observed patiently for a while, and after confirming that Gu Jia had not kicked the quilt away again, he gently closed the door. Dog system, I am here. Give Gu Jia the innate skill equipment. Once a skill is equipped, it cannot be withdrawn or the target changed. Are you sure? Well, if it can't be changed, it can't be changed, I'm sure. Early morning, Lu Changsheng was shaken awake by a cold hand. He rubbed his eyes and sat up in a daze. Seeing Gu Jia acting cautiously beside him, he couldn't help but feel soft in his heart. Gu Jia has already woken up, and there is no word staying in bed in her world. The girl was wearing ill-fitting work clothes in the store. She had cleaned the store from beginning to end early in the morning. There was really nothing to do, so she came to wake Lu Changsheng up. Lu Changsheng looked at the 4 big black and white characters, Eternal Life Funeral, on Gu Jia's chest and shook his head speechlessly. Apprentice, don't you like the clothes that master bought you yesterday? Gu Jia shook his head and made famous gestures with his hands. Fortunately, the matter was not complicated, and Lu Changsheng quickly understood what she meant. New clothes are too precious to wear. You are not old enough to wear the store's work clothes. Go and change your clothes. Master has a skill to teach you. Gu Jia nodded obediently and took out the new skirt with some reluctance. The moment she put it on, she almost thought she was back in a dream. As long as she opened her eyes, everything would disappear. What awaited him was still the vicious eyes and the cold stick. Isn't it okay yet? Are women always so slow to change clothes, no matter their age? Master's complaints came from outside the house. Gu Jia didn't feel disgusted at all. Instead, she felt that the voice was like the sound of nature. Lu Changsheng looked at the young apprentice who had changed his clothes with satisfaction. This is right. Children are wearing messy clothes. Lu Changsheng thought so, although he himself was still wearing the same work clothes that had remained unchanged for thousands of years. Gu Jia, this is the innate skill, do you remember it? There is no need to learn the skills of the system at all. As soon as you equip them, you will automatically master them. However, if you want to level up, you have to rely on your own efforts. Gu Jia nodded gently. She didn't understand why she had to practice that strange technique, and she didn't understand why she seemed to be born with it even though she had never learned it. Watching the little apprentice enter the state of practice honestly, Lu Changsheng nodded with satisfaction. Just practice at home with peace of mind. Master will go buy some ingredients. Today we will eat ribs. He seemed to remember some painful memories and paused. Eat clear soup noodles. Master will give you 2 more eggs. Remember, don't be lazy. You can't stop practicing for a day. Lu Changsheng whistled and left the store. He finally had an apprentice. Next, he just had to wait for the apprentice to practice for him. Ascension in broad daylight is not a dream. On the way to the vegetable market, Lu Changsheng saw a new mobile blood donation vehicle. The nurse inside didn't recognize him yet. He was immediately excited as if he had found an organization. He rushed in 2 steps at a time. 3 minutes later. Relaxed. Lu Changsheng was contentedly holding 500 yuan bills, supporting his head, and staggering towards the vegetable market. What he didn't notice was that 2 fierce figures were sitting on a roadside wonton stall, discussing something. Boss, I've asked around, and the 5th and 6th are gone. A sturdy man with a full beard said in a somewhat depressed tone. The man opposite him was about 40 years old, with a narrow forehead, a pointed chin, and wide cheekbones. The veins on his temples were bulging, and his eyes were full of resentment. It's gone, so it's gone. We can't stay in Lincheng any longer. The Public Security Bureau has been keeping an eye on us. Third brother, we have to move faster. Find the dumb girl and leave here immediately. Boss, otherwise, forget it. The third brother was a little hesitant. Everyone says that the whole family of human traffickers will die. I didn't believe it at first, but now I can't help but believe it. We 7 brothers came out to make a living together, and now there are only 2 of us left. I'm a little scared. What's there to be scared of? I've already contacted the next owner. Someone has already picked out the dumb girl. As long as we find her and send her to the boss, we'll be happy for a while. If we don't do this business, what will we eat? What will we drink? Or do you want to go to the front line and fight those monsters? The third brother's neck shrank back and he became quiet, not daring to offend the boss again. The boss's eyes became more and more vicious. We could have left a long time ago, but the mute girl was taken away at this time. If I knew who kidnapped the mute girl, I would make sure that he was killed without a complete body. Chapter 4 Temporary Mission. saving Gu Jia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the next few days, there was a busy little figure in the Changsheng Hall. Gu Jia is a sensible child. Except for the 6 hours of practice every day, she spends the rest of her time cleaning the store. Sometimes when I really have nothing to do, I will say hello to Lu Changsheng and go to the surrounding neighbors to find work. Taiwan Novel Network. Her hands are very diligent and she works neatly. Although the neighbors lived a very unsatisfactory life, they all liked this little girl who could not speak. Sometimes he would give her a piece. Sometimes he would give her 2 pieces, but Gu Jia would not take it too little. He would always work until the person was satisfied before leaving. Lu Changsheng was lying on the folding chair, looking at the busy figure of his little apprentice, and couldn't help but feel guilty. Isn't it good for me to be like this? I leave all the work to my apprentice. How about I donate some blood later? The blood banks near my home all know me, so I have to go further away. Lu Changsheng planned this dog system that I am here. How many mall coins do I have now? Details of mall coins are as follows. Through hard training, Gu Jia's innate skill experience increased by 3% and she obtained 30 mall coins. Through hard training, Gu Jia's innate skill experience increased by 4% and she obtained 40 mall coins. Through hard training, Gu Jia's innate skill experience increased by 4% and she obtained 40 mall coins. Gu Jia's Xiantian Kung LV1 practice progress is 11%. Total mall coins, 210. In just 3 days, you earned me 110 mall coins. Damn it, what kind of life have I been living these past 3 years? I worked so hard on a novice mission, but it was not as good as the 3 days of hard work of a good disciple. According to this progress, Gu Jia will be able to save 1,000 mall coins if her innate skill reaches LV2. It seems that regeneration pills are not very expensive. Lu Changsheng shut down the system, said hello to the busy Gu Jia, and walked out of the store. The blood station he was going to today was far away from home. He specifically told his young apprentice not to wait for him to have lunch, as he would not be back until evening. Gu Jia's practice today has long been completed, and there is nothing left to do about the hygiene in the store. She took out a few crumpled bills from her arms, placed them on the table and smoothed them carefully. I wonder if this money is enough to buy ribs. Gu Jia's mind was very delicate. She clearly remembered the longing and patient look in her master's eyes when she looked at the ribs on the first day she came to the shop. Although master didn't say it, he probably wanted to eat too. Think so. Gu Jia took the banknotes back into his arms and walked to the vegetable market. Little girl, this money is really not enough to buy ribs. What do you mean? You want to help in the shop, don't you? Hey, what a pretty girl. That's okay. Auntie doesn't want the money. You can help in the store for a day and I'll leave you a small bag of ribs. What do you think? Looking at the busy figure in front of the pork rib stall, the third child pushed the boss's arm in disbelief and lowered his voice and said, Boss, do you think that girl looks like a mute girl? Third brother, do you have a blind eye? Didn't you see her clothes? She looks like a child from a rich family. How can a mute girl be so beautiful? Did you meet her on the first day? The Public Security Bureau has been looking for them, and the old Dalian company has been looking for someone to hide from the pursuing soldiers. It has been on the verge of collapse for 3 days, and now is the time to get irritable. No, boss. Look, the girl's movements are exactly the same as the mute girl's. And pay attention to her eyes, are they exactly the same as the mute girl's? The third child was a little excited. After days of searching, they finally found him. Now he just wanted to leave Lincheng as soon as possible. He didn't want to stay in this damn place for another day. Go over and have a look. Although the boss was not sure, he still went to the stall with the mentality of giving it a try. Gu Jia has been busy at the stall, and beads of sweat keep falling from her forehead. She is afraid of soiling her clothes, so she is very careful when doing things. In a daze, she felt like she was being stared at by a cold look. She carefully raised her head and saw the eyes that had appeared countless times in her nightmares, vicious, cruel, and ruthless. Gu Jia suddenly lost his grip on the weight in his hand and fell to the ground with a snap. Her pupils suddenly contracted, her chest heaved violently. Her back was instantly soaked with cold sweat, and her body began to Tremble subconsciously, just one glance, the boss knew he had found it. Mute girl, you gave us a good meal. The boss grabbed Gu Jia's neck and pulled her out from the stall like a chicken. Gu Jia's whole body was tense and she didn't dare to resist at all. She just followed the boss numbly. Hello, that a sharp voice stopped the boss's movements. Are you the parent of this little girl? What do you do for food? You have money to buy such good clothes for your child, but you can't afford a pound of ribs. It's the time when the child is growing. Do you know that the owner of the pork rib stall is a 40-year-old middle-aged woman? Her husband died young, and she raised a family by herself. To be able to gain a foothold in this mixed market, she is naturally a fierce woman. Gu Jia seemed to have seen a life-saving straw. She was desperate, but now she had renewed hope. She struggled to break free from the boss and rushed to the stall owner. She shook her head desperately and made a sound of ABA with difficulty. How did the dumb girl become so strong? The boss was a little surprised, but he was not panicked. After years of education, he didn't think the dumb girl would dare to really resist him. I'm sorry, boss lady, the child is too playful. How could we starve the child? You're right, girl, that the boss quietly pinched Gu Jia's neck, and his palm exerted force secretly, making her unable to move or even make a sound. Boss lady, take this money as compensation for the girl disturbing you for a day. That the third brother handed over 100 yuan bill at the right time, put on a smiling face, and apologized. Just as the two were about to take Gu Jia away from the vegetable market, the stall owner spoke again. Wait a minute, that the eldest and the third looked at each other, and saw murderous intent in each other's eyes. The stall owner stuffed the 100 yuan bill back into the third's hand, and gently put a small bag of ribs into Gu Jia's hand. Child, if you want to eat ribs in the future, come to your aunt. You are a good child, and this is what you deserve. Gu Jia's eyes were blurred by tears. She trembled and took the ribs and put them tightly in her arms. Even if the ribs would dirty her most beloved clothes, Gu Jia didn't dare to ask for help again. No one knew better than her how vicious the two men were. You too, be nice to the child. If I see the child run out hungry again, I will never let you go. That the stall owner stared at the eldest and the third with Gu Jia and left. What she didn't realize was, Gu Jia's body was shaking constantly, and every step seemed to be stepping into an endless abyss, so reluctant, so desperate. Ah, it feels good. Changsheng came out of the blood donation station, grabbed the money in his hand, and breathed a sigh of satisfaction. I'm going to eat ribs today no matter what. That he walked home with great anticipation. Warning. Warning. Apprentice number 001 Gu Jia is in an extremely dangerous state, and a temporary mission has been issued. Temporary mission, save Gu Jia. Task reward, 500 mall coins. A red dot appeared in Changsheng's eyes, and it was getting farther and farther away from him. Fuck you. Before he finished his curse, Changsheng had already chased the direction of the red dot and rushed out. Chapter 5 All the money I earn is hard-earned money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the outskirts of Lincheng, the black N-hand car was speeding down the road. Boss, why didn't I notice before that the mute girl is so beautiful? Otherwise, don't sell it. If you raise her up, you can definitely find a better owner. The third child was sitting in the passenger seat and turned back to stare at Gu Jia with a sinister expression. Taiwan Novel Network. The girl's little body was curled up in the back seat, her expression numb and her eyes dull. The ribs in her arms had been warmed by her body temperature, but her heart was extremely cold. The long-term abuse and torture left her unable to even think about resisting. The boss even let her sit alone in the back row without worrying about her escaping. You know what the heck, the price given by the boss this time was very high, so he just wanted a little girl. Even if she grows up, she may not be able to sell it at this price. It will also waste several years of our food rations. The boss's tone was casual, as if he was talking about a product rather than a living person. After doing this, we can live a good life for a few years. The boss's eyes were full of greed and expectation. As long as we leave Lincheng, we will be like carps jumping over the dragon gate and birds flying high in the sky. This world is still ours. Bang, the car hit a group of black figures, and the huge impact shocked the three people in the car. Crunch, the car braked suddenly and swayed to a stop on the side of the road, leaving dark tire marks all over the ground. Boss, we seem to have bumped into someone. The eldest brother and the third child looked at each other, opened the car door, took out the dagger pinned behind their backs, and slowly moved forward. Eternal life funeral. Damn, he's just doing nothing. He's so damn unlucky. Changsheng was lying on the ground, covered in bloodstains. The third child saw the store name on his clothes and couldn't help but spit. The boss looked around and confirmed that there was no surveillance here. A hint of sinisterness flashed in his eyes. Hurry up and wipe his neck. Be smarter. Don't leave, I have photographed your faces. This matter is not over today, you are in trouble. Changsheng skillfully held up his mobile phone and slowly sat up from the ground. He patted the license plate, the face of the boss and the third son, and even took a close-up of his whole body. It's such a waste to lose so much blood. How many kilograms of ribs can be exchanged for? The eldest brother and the third child were stunned. They stared at the bloody man on the ground dumbfounded, and took a video of them as if nothing happened. Are you filming us? You're fucking looking for death, aren't you? The boss raised his dagger and rushed forward. Wait. Changsheng turned his cell phone sideways to the boss, his bloody fingers resting on the screen. I just need to click lightly, and the video will be sent to the Public Security Bureau Brigade. Are you sure you want to take action? The boss was stunned. He had never seen someone who was about to die and still thought about the person who dragged him into the water. I'll do the math for you. I've almost lost 500 cubic centimeters of blood. I'll charge you 500 according to the market price. The work clothes are damaged, so I'll charge you 500. I definitely won't be able to start work these days, so I can't charge you 5,000 for lost time. Let's divide it up. Then there are the mental damage expenses, insomnia expenses, nutrition expenses. The eldest brother and the third child were both stunned and stared blankly at Changsheng's report of compensation expenses line by line. In addition to the spiritual damage fee, the total is 58,750 yuan. I'll give you the change. I'll give you 58,700 yuan. Who wiped out 0 and wiped out 50? And you haven't already calculated the mental damage fee, so why did you calculate the mental damage fee again? The third child muttered dissatisfiedly. Are you a fucking idiot? This kid is a prankster. Haven't you seen it yet? The boss angrily slapped the third child on the head, his eyes scary as if he was about to spit out fire. Hey, I don't like to hear this. We are relying on our ability to earn a living. How can we call it porcelain? If you have this ability, you can also come and experience it. I guarantee that you will receive lunch when you start work. Changsheng added dissatisfiedly, do you really think this bowl of rice is easy to eat? All I earn is hard-earned money. What the hell? The third child couldn't stand it anymore. He held the dagger behind his back and walked forward fiercely. He wanted to kill this kid. The third child, the eldest brother stopped the third son's movements and gritted his teeth, almost squeezing out a few words from between his teeth. Go get the money, we have big things to do, don't make things more complicated. The boss's tone was cold and terrifying, and he emphasized the word big event because he was afraid that he would not be able to control it for a while. Gu Jia in the car also saw the master's figure clearly, and shouted excitedly in the car, constantly making sounds of Abba, Ababa. The third child returned to the trunk, took out a red plastic bag, and glared at Gu Jia fiercely, seeing that the mute girl became honest again. He reluctantly threw the money bag to Changsheng. 100, 200, 300. Changsheng just sat on the ground and counted the money, with a little blood on his fingers from time to time. 5,800. No, you are too poor, aren't you? Why are you not as good as me? How can you just send a beggar with such a small amount of money? Changsheng's soul asked 3 questions, catching the boss and the third child off guard, that was all their belongings, yet they were despised by a porcelain person. The third child couldn't bear it anymore. If he was wanted, he would be wanted. They were all going to escape anyway. Before leaving, he must kill this stupid boy. The boss grabbed the third child's arm and stared at Lu Changsheng, as if he wanted to remember his appearance. "Brother, this trip is our fault. Don't take the money too little. We won't be able to get any more. We still have important things to do, so we won't accompany you. We meet each other in the mountains and rivers, and there is always a chance. One day, we will meet again." "Wait a minute." Lu Changsheng stopped the two people who turned around, put the banknotes back into the plastic bag, stood up slowly, and said quietly. "We have settled this account, and I still have another amount that I want to collect from you. Take your mother. Go to hell." The third child has had enough. He suddenly raised the dagger, turned around and stabbed Lu Changsheng. "He wants this kid dead. Die immediately." Lu Changsheng did not dodge, and allowed the cold dagger to stab into his body. This was not the first time that the third child had killed someone. When he saw that he was facing a tough opponent, he did not hesitate to draw out his dagger and wanted to stab him again. It's just that his movements are a little slower. Poof, the third child didn't see Lu Changsheng's movements at all. He only felt an icy chill stabbing into his chest, and severe pain spread throughout his body like lightning. His limbs quickly lost strength, and every inhalation was accompanied by heart-pounding pain. The third child's consciousness quickly blurred. In the last moment of his life, he only remembered a pair of eyes, emotionless, cold and ruthless, eyes like evil spirits. Poof! Lu Changsheng took out the dagger from the third child's heart and stared directly at the boss. The boss was stunned, then a strong sense of fear came over me. "Young man, you, calm down, murder is illegal. Don't make the same mistake again and again." The boss panted violently, looked at the dagger still dripping blood in Lu Changsheng's hand, and slowly walked back. "This man is a devil. It must be a devil crawling out of hell. How could anyone who was so seriously injured still be able to withstand a knife and kill someone back?" Lu Changsheng walked towards the boss step by step, his eyes as cold as ice. "You are right, killing is illegal. But, have you forgotten? You are not human." The boss's pupils suddenly shrank, his heart pounded, and his eyes almost popped out of his sockets, but he still couldn't understand what he saw. Lu Changsheng was in front of him, disappeared. Chapter 6. Are you worthy of being called human beings? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The boss didn't know where Lu Changsheng ran to, but he knew very well that he was not far from death. He turned around and rushed to the car without looking back. Just one more step to get into the car and escape. But that last step was like a chasm, and he couldn't take it out. A big hand like a steel drill held him down tightly, and he couldn't move an inch. Lu Changsheng grabbed the boss's neck and slammed him hard against the car. "You are the ones who made my good disciple like this." Taiwan Novel Network. Bang. "You are the ones who kidnapped other people's children and used them as tools to make money." Bang. "Look carefully, that's a person, a living person." Bang. "You also have parents. You will have your own children in the future. Where is your conscience?" Bang. "You are also worthy of being called human beings." Bang. The boss collapsed to the ground powerlessly. His face was covered with blood, his forehead was deeply sunken, and his mouth was full of blood bubbles. The throat could not stop making a hissing sound, only the air was out, and there was no air in. If Lu Changsheng hadn't tried hard to control the strength of his hands, the first blow would have killed the boss. Lu Changsheng shook the blood on his hands, took out the dagger behind him, and carefully cut across his neck, leaving a small but narrow wound, enough to kill, but it won't kill him immediately. Lu Changsheng wanted the boss to die slowly in despair. He put away the dagger, shook off the blood on his hands, and wiped it on his clothes. He gently opened the car door. "Jia, don't be afraid, the master is here." Gu Jia's eyes were already filled with tears, and her world was blurred. For a moment, she felt that she was finished. The so-called master, the so-called new life, were just a dream she had. Now that the dream is awake, she still has to go back to that hell, numbly waiting for death to come. Until she heard that familiar voice, she finally couldn't help crying. It's not a dream. She is no longer an unwanted child, she is no longer a commodity like an animal, she is no longer a person, no longer. Lu Changsheng was in a hurry, and he was not so nervous even when he killed someone just now. He held the little apprentice in his arms, gently comforting her, and carefully covered her eyes with a big hand to prevent her from seeing the bloody scene outside the car. The crying lasted for a long time, and Lu Changsheng's hands were a little numb, and Gu Jia slowly stopped. She stubbornly pulled away the master's big hand and stared at the corpse on the ground quietly. Even though her body was still shaking uncontrollably, even though her heart was still panic-stricken, she did not move her eyes away. The boss was already cold, and he walked to the end of his life in the girl's heart-wrenching cry. There was fear, reluctance, and pain in his eyes, but there was no regret. Lu Changsheng took Gu Jia's cold little hand and wanted to take her away from here. This beast was not worth the death, but he didn't let his good apprentice be affected by it. He suddenly found that Gu Jia was still holding a bag tightly in her hand. "You left home just because you bought ribs?" Lu Changsheng's voice was very light, for fear that the girl would think he was blaming her. Gu Jia's tears had dried up. She looked at her master and nodded blankly. The two were silent for a long time. Lu Changsheng took the ribs from Gu Jia's hand, wiped the blood on his hands on his clothes, and took his little apprentice. "Let's go, Jia, the master will take you home." Lu Changsheng took Gu Jia's hand and walked on the busy street. The pedestrians around him couldn't help but look at him twice because of his terrible blood, but no one dared to come up and talk to him. Everyone in this world is living busy or numbly, and no one has the spare energy to care about a stranger. Under the setting sun, two shadows, one big and one small, were illuminated and lonely. Until the last ray of sunlight fell, the two shadows slowly merged into one shadow, two people. Life in Changsheng is peaceful and boring. Occasionally, a customer came in and saw the taciturn shop owner and a little girl who couldn't speak, and could only shake his head irritably and leave. Gu Jia is still diligent and never worries Lu Changsheng. The only difference is that the master no longer lets her go out to help out, but gives her 500 yuan pocket money every month. In the blink of an eye, more than a month has passed. Lu Changsheng lies comfortably on the folding chair, checking his own small treasury. Dog system. How many mall coins do I have now? The mall coin details are as follows. Gu Jia has improved her Xiantian Gong experience by 3% through hard practice, and obtained 30 mall coins. Gu Jia has improved her Xiantian Gong experience by 4% through hard practice, and obtained 40 mall coins. Gu Jia has improved her Xiantian Gong experience by 4% through hard practice. Gu Jia's Xiantian Gong LV1 practice progress is 91%. Temporary task reward 500. Total mall coins 1510. OK. Dog system, exchange for regeneration pills. Host. Are you sure? There are many more valuable items in the mall. Then I'll take a look. I'm not buying it anyway, so I'll just take a look. After cleaning up, Gu Jia sat down next to her master as usual and started practicing today, but she always felt that her master was a little strange today. Why did he always smile with his eyes closed, and drool couldn't stop from flowing from the corners of his mouth, and he kept muttering in his mouth. Fuck. 1-to-1 adaptive armor of Gundam. The snuff bottle used by the Golden Immortal. If this pill is exchanged, it can probably sell for several thousand kilograms of ribs. Anyway, it's not good for girls to talk too much. Being a quiet beautiful girl is also good, isn't it? Why not exchange an electronic master's wife for Jia first? This Lilia looks good, hee. This situation lasted for most of the day. Lu Changsheng finally walked out of the system mall. He gradually began to understand why women in his previous life loved to go shopping on Taobao. Even if you don't buy it, just looking at it makes you feel good. Gu Jia had already prepared dinner and was sitting quietly in front of the master, waiting for him to shout dinner is ready. Ahem, well, Jia. Lu Changsheng looked at his apprentice with a guilty look. You shouldn't have heard anything weird, right? Gu Jia shook her head obediently. She knew that adults love face, and she was a good child if she pretended to be stupid appropriately. Come on, dinner is ready. Gu Jia took out the bowls and chopsticks swiftly, and respectfully placed them for the master before climbing up to her own special position. Eat this before eating. Lu Changsheng took out a small black pill out of thin air like a magic trick, and stuffed it into the apprentice's mouth without saying anything, as if he would regret it if he was a second slower. The cool feeling spread all over Gu Jia's body, and finally gathered in her mouth. Gu Jia looked at her master with a puzzled look. Soon, she was stunned. The tongue that had not felt for many years actually responded. ABA ABA. ABA ABA. ABA ABA. Lu Changsheng touched the little apprentice's head and said gently. Not ABA, but master. Wet caress. Gu Jia's eyes were red, but the corners of her mouth were subconsciously raised. She cried, laughed and cried. Chapter 7, The Nameless Person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Read after me, goose. Ugh. Lu Changsheng patiently taught his little apprentice, who had just regained the ability to speak and had even forgotten the basic pronunciation. Fortunately, what Lu Changsheng lacked the least was time. As long as he continued to complete the tasks assigned by the system, he might really be able to live forever like his name. Lu Changsheng closed the Chinese textbook and said, Jar, let's stop here today. Although the schools in this world basically teach how to kill monsters and how to use superpowers, the master doesn't want you to be illiterate. Remember the master's words. I'm not afraid of gangsters who know martial arts, I'm afraid of gangsters who have culture. We must strive to be cultured gangsters. Wet protection, bull busy, things go wrong. Although Gu Jia's pronunciation is not good, she is not stupid. It's good to be a modest gentleman, but in this world, only gangsters can survive. Remember it? Gu Jia nodded in confusion, although she felt that what the master said was a bit strange. The master was her heaven. Since the master was right, then it must be right. Lu Changsheng covered her with a quilt with satisfaction and turned to leave the room. He lay on the bed and checked the details of the mall coins as usual. You let Gu Jia speak again and get 500 mall coins. By teaching Gu Jia knowledge, get 5 mall coins. You let Gu Jia learn to cover the quilt and get 10 mall coins. Gu Jia's Xiantian Gong experience increased by 4% through hard practice, and got 40 mall coins. Total mall coins, 565. Lu Changsheng looked at the long details and was stunned. Dog system, Is there any profit in teaching Jar to read? All effective education for apprentices can get mall coins. Please continue to work hard. When the mall coins reach 5,000, the skill store will be opened. Lu Changsheng was stunned. He was able to snatch Gu Jia back from the traffickers because of the Xiantian Gong he had drawn before. If Jar is equipped with a few more skills, he can really hold on to his apprentice's thigh and take off all the way. Lu Changsheng was overjoyed. Early morning, Lu Changsheng rarely slept in the past, except for going out to buy some vegetables every day and occasionally seeing new blood stations to refresh himself. Lu Changsheng hardly moved. Anyway, the little apprentice took care of the family affairs, and Gu Jia was very self-disciplined in cultivation, and there was no need for Lu Changsheng to watch over her. But today he was uncharacteristically waiting at the door of Changsheng Hall early. A black hearse stopped silently, and 2 staff members wearing masks moved a body to the southeast corner of Changsheng Hall with quick movements. There was a room there, which was a morgue specially used to place coffins. The staff skillfully put the body into the morning hall of Changsheng Hall and left without saying a word. Lu Changsheng put on the mask quickly and took the makeup tools. This body is the unnamed list sent to him by Lincheng municipal government. As the name suggests, these bodies are all nameless people. Nowadays, the war on the front line is intense, and it is difficult for the people to survive. Few people will spend a lot of money on funerals. In order to prevent funeral homes like Changsheng from going out of business, Lincheng municipal government occasionally sends them some unnamed lists. Although the unit price is not high, in recent years, besides selling blood, this has been Lu Changsheng's second most important source of income. It is easy to deal with unnamed lists because there are no relatives and friends to find fault. As long as the body is simply handled and the relevant departments come to take pictures and confirm, you can wait for the funding. Some unscrupulous funeral homes want to save money even on makeup, and just Photoshop the photos and send them away. Lu Changsheng is different from them. Although he lives a tight life, he has never been perfunctory about his work. At least let the guests have a dignity to complete the last journey. This is his bottom line. As for the cheap coffin, Lu Changsheng believed that the guests would not mind. After all, most of them died of starvation on the streets before they died. It would be nice to have a house to stay in temporarily, right? Today's guest is so young. Lu Changsheng turned over the white cloth covering the guest. His guest was a young woman, no more than 20 years old, with regular features and fair skin. Of course, most of Lu Changsheng's guests had very fair skin, the kind of pale white. There is no fatal wound, it should be sudden death. The fingers are intact, there is no mud and sand, there was no struggle before death, the guest should not have suffered much when you left. And your face is not damaged, you can make it up perfectly, you must have left beautifully. Lu Changsheng always used to put on makeup while chatting with guests. He felt that in this way, the guests would feel that they were more like a person, not a piece of cold frozen meat, even though Lu Changsheng knew that his guests would never give him a 5-star rating. Husband, this sister Ji is so beautiful. Gu Jia had come to Lu Changsheng's side without knowing when. She looked at the guest lying in the coffin quietly, without any fear or discomfort. Lu Changsheng looked at the little apprentice with a little surprise. He took out a new mask from the toolbox and put it on Gu Jia. Jia, aren't you afraid? Don't be afraid. The mouths of the dead are not afraid, but the mouths of the living are afraid. Lu Changsheng was startled. He looked at his little apprentice with a little distress. What kind of life could allow a 12-year-old girl to say such words? Jia, can master teach you how to put on makeup? It can make my sister more beautiful. Okay, wait a minute, Shizuru, I'm going to get a chair. Lu Changsheng took advantage of Gu Jia's departure and pulled up the white cloth to block the terrible corpse spots. I have to say that Gu Jia still has some talent for bai shi. With just a little guidance from Lu Changsheng, she fully understood her master's intentions. Women's natural aesthetic advantages allowed her to put on more delicate makeup than Lu Changsheng for the first time. The guest in the coffin soon had a new look thanks to the efforts of the master and the apprentice. Peaceful and comfortable, it seemed like she was just asleep. Sure, does this sister Ji really have no relatives? Well, all the unlisted names are not claimed by relatives. Maybe her relatives are already waiting for her in another world. Same as me, but I have a wet guard, so I don't count as a person, right? Lu Changsheng looked at his little apprentice with a little distress, and gently touched her little head. Well, I'm not alone anymore, not anymore. Lu Changsheng chose a simple plain dress so that the guests could leave in dignity. Since the guest had no family members, Lu Changsheng decided for her and placed yellow flowers around the morning hall to make the girl look more energetic and not too lifeless. After doing all this, he took Gu Jia's little hand and bowed respectfully to the guest. Originally, he only needed to notify the staff to take a photo, and the order was completed and could be sent directly to the crematorium, but Lu Changsheng insisted that the guest stay for 7 days before leaving. Even if no one cared about the guest during his lifetime, he also hoped that the guest would not be too lonely during the last part of the journey. The master and apprentice quietly left the guest's resting place. What they didn't notice was, a slender palm trembled slightly, and the pink nail polish that Gu Jia had painted for her still remained on the nails of the palm. Chapter 8. Someone actually ran away without paying. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Late at night, the sky was covered with dark clouds that obscured the stars and the moon, refusing to let out any light. On the outskirts of Lincheng, in a desolate cemetery, 2 figures stood alone. What number is this? An old voice sounded, making the already cold cemetery even more gloomy. A young man looked at the empty tomb in front of him with a solemn expression, and respectfully replied, Deacon's son, this is the 7th. Inform all the law enforcement teams in Lincheng to search the funeral parlors in the city and be sure to find those monsters pretending to be corpses. Deacon Sun's voice was calm and there was no hint of emotion or anger. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. The young man did not dare to refute the old man's order, so he could only remind him tactfully. But Deacon Sun, the demon clan that can transform into human form is at least level 5 or above. If the law enforcement team in Lincheng handles this matter, they may die in vain. Deacon Sun looked at the young man and started to educate him. You are talking about ordinary monsters. There are 2 types of monsters that do not need to reach the 5th level. They can naturally transform into human forms, and almost all of them can. It's female. The young man was startled. Sirens and succubi have the power of monsters and the appearance of humans. They are most suitable for infiltration missions. Ordinary people simply can't resist their temptation. As long as they climb onto the bed of a high-level human being, they can cause huge casualties to the rear. The degree of harm is no less than those of the monsters who specialize in fighting. Monster detectors are installed in the center of every city. Monsters above level 5 cannot hide their whereabouts at all. Since they send people to infiltrate, they must be low-level monsters. They don't have strong combat power, but they are very good at hiding. We can't wait for the people from the Demon Slayer division and must find them as soon as possible. The young man saluted respectfully, stopped asking questions, and hurriedly picked up his cell phone to contact the Lincheng Demon Slaying Division branch. Xiantianyou. You made some small moves in the rear, and we tolerated it. Now you actually dare to collude with the demon clan. Deacon Sun did not continue speaking, but his sharp eyes became even colder. The first ray of sunshine in the morning slowly came from the east. The figures of the old man and the young man in the cemetery had long disappeared, but it woke up the boss of Changsheng. Lu Changsheng sat up in a daze and rubbed his eyes. He seemed to have heard a familiar prompt just now and subconsciously turned on the system. Congratulations to the host. Apprentice number 001 Gu Jia, the innate skill of the equipment has broken through to LV2. LV2 innate power strength is, for times that of ordinary people. The host automatically shares progress, and the innate skill has been upgraded to LV3. LV3 innate power strength is, 8 times that of ordinary people. Done. Feeling the power constantly bursting out of his body, Lu Changsheng jumped up from the bed excitedly. 3 years, he finally realized the joy of prostitution for free. He is finally no longer alone. He has an apprentice. But Lu Changsheng soon realized something was wrong. He grabbed his phone and saw that it was only 4:45. This child doesn't care about his body too much. Although prostitution is very happy, Lu Changsheng is not willing to treat Gu Jia as a pure upgrade tool. Let's talk about that girl carefully. Sleep is the most important thing for children. How can you get up so early every day? You won't grow taller in the future. Lu Changsheng murmured to himself as he pushed open the door of his room. Boom boom boom. What Lu Changsheng didn't expect was that besides the master and apprentice, there were other people who got up so early in the morning. Boom boom boom. Coming. Lu Changsheng opened the door with a puzzled look. This was the first time he saw someone knocking on the door of Changsheng Hall early in the morning. A middle-aged man walked into the small store holding a leaflet that was floating randomly outside the store. The man is tall, with broad and strong shoulders, a Chinese-shaped face, a hooked nose, and short hair that makes him look smart and capable. Hello boss, my name is Lu Jiangming, from the Lincheng law enforcement team. On orders from the Demon Slayer division, I came to check on the body that was delivered to your store yesterday. The man's voice was slightly serious. Weren't people from the municipal government coming here before? Although Lu Changsheng was confused, he didn't think too much. It is impossible for a normal person to come to Changsheng Hall to fool him, let alone to play with corpses early in the morning. Well, it's right there. When you take pictures, be careful not to damage the morning hall, otherwise I will. The rest of Lu Changsheng's words were stuck in his throat and he couldn't say them out anymore. The small morning hall was in a mess, the flowers fell to the ground crookedly, the simple coffin was kicked away from the side, leaving an empty and broken coffin. Only the black and white photo that was just developed yesterday proved that the guest once existed. Damn it. I'm just doing nothing, but I can still meet someone who skips the bill. Lu Changsheng's eyes almost popped out of his head. He is really distressed. I only got one business in half a year, and it turned out to be a scam. Lu Jiangming saw the woman's appearance clearly, raised his head and looked around. When he saw the broken window above the morning hall, he frowned, used a little strength in his legs, jumped along the window, and jumped out. Lu Changsheng was left alone in the wind. It was early winter in Lincheng, and it was very cold. There was no one on the streets except for a sanitation worker, wearing thin clothes, working alone. Lu Jiangming came to the sanitation worker, took out his badge, and asked, I am from the Lincheng law enforcement team and I am on a mission. Have you ever seen a strange woman nearby? That the sanitation worker lowered his head and did not speak. He just pointed in the direction behind him and silently went about his work. Thank you. Lu Jiangming put away his badge, twisted his body, and punched the sanitation worker in the back of his heart. The sanitation worker's body seemed to be soft and boneless. Although he was spun several times by the heavy punch, all the impact was silently released. The sanitation worker's bamboo hat was knocked to the ground, and his hair fell in the wind, falling on the woman's shoulders. I've never seen a sanitation worker wearing nail polish. Lu Jiangming knew how powerful the demon clan was, and didn't think that the battle just now could be resolved. Taking advantage of the opponent's unsteady footing, he attacked and killed them again. The woman quickly retreated to avoid the iron fist in front of her. Seeing that the woman was able to dodge his attack, Lu Jiangming remained unabated, tensed up his muscles, and kept approaching her. The woman hurriedly resisted the opponent's attacks, and was beaten back steadily. The more Lu Jiangming fought, the more frightened he became. Every punch he threw, the woman could dodge at the last moment. Although it seemed that he had the absolute upper hand, only he knew best in his heart that this woman was just testing his strength. That's all. This snap. After several rounds of confrontation, the woman had figured out the details of Lu Jiangming. She no longer held back her hands, and after dodging, she grabbed the opponent's neck. A mere second-level awakened person who can't even use his superpower dares to seek death. That the woman's beautiful face gradually turned ferocious, and her beautiful eyes also lit up with a strange red light. Chapter 9. The second monument is half price. You are listening at novelfull.audio. LV Jiangming felt the huge force coming from his neck and felt dizzy. He couldn't breathe anymore and would soon lose consciousness due to suffocation. He tried to muster up the strength to pry the woman's hands apart, but he couldn't do anything. Is this woman a sea monster? LV Jiangming's heart sank to the bottom of the valley in an instant. The eyes of the sea monster have the ability to shock. Once the opponent stares at them, their hands and feet will become weak and they will lose the ability to resist. The demon power is released, and the eyes are red. This female demon is a third level, Taiwan Novel Network. Circled M, but her strength is not very strong, otherwise her neck would have been twisted off long ago. It seems that she has just broken through. There is a chance. As long as you forcibly evoke the superpowers, you will definitely win. LV Jiangming gave up the idea of physical resistance, closed his eyes tightly, and mobilized the broken superpowers in his body. The Banshee also knew that if she dragged on, the opponent's support would arrive sooner or later. She secretly exerted force with her palm, trying to quickly get rid of this troublesome guy. I say, this guest, didn't your family teach you? It's wrong to run away. That the Banshee turned her head in surprise, looking at the figure that suddenly appeared. With a vigilant look on her face, she didn't even notice when this person appeared. Go. Go. Lu Jiangming closed his eyes and couldn't see the appearance of the person coming. He could only use all his strength to issue intermittent warnings. Just these few words drained the little air left in his lungs. His brain was blank, and even the supernatural power accumulated for half a day was dissipated. Lu Changsheng was a little surprised to hear Lu Jiangming's voice. He couldn't even protect himself, but he was still thinking about others. Such people are rare now. The female demon threw the nearly unconscious Lu Jiangming away, crouched down, and said disdainfully, "Do you humans want to die so much?" That the demon race's sensitivity to energy is far better than that of humans. After the initial shock, she soon realized that the human in front of her did not have any supernatural fluctuations, and was not even an awakener. My guest, I am not happy with what you said. It is you who should die. Lu Changsheng said dissatisfiedly, look, you have put on makeup, put on clothes, taken photos, and I have arranged the morning hall for you. How can you not die just by saying that you don't want to die? If everyone is like you, will I still be able to do business? Lu Jiangming was terrified and frightened. He had heard the voice of the person who came. Is this boss an idiot? Didn't he see that the female demon could lift an adult man in the air with one hand? Lu Jiangming waved his arms feebly, trying to drive Lu Changsheng away, but he seemed not to see it and was still calculating the bill without knowing whether to live or die. Look, My dear, your coffin is made of the finest golden Nanmu wood, and you kicked it and broke it. Is it not too much to charge you 20,000? Those flowers in the morning hall were all picked by my apprentice with great effort. Is it not too much to charge you 5,000? Forget about the plain clothes on your body, which are paid by the municipal government. But you have to compensate for the windows of the morning hall, right? Changsheng is a century-old store. Every brick, tile, window and door are very commemorative. I have simply calculated it for you. You give me 80,000, and then go back and die obediently, and we will settle the account. Lu Jiangming and the demon girl were stunned. I listened blankly to Lu Changsheng reading out the details of compensation one by one like reading the names of dishes. Your broken coffin is as thin as paper, and you dare to call it golden Nanmu. Those flowers are obviously fake flowers, and the flower pots are pasted with the logo of the flower shop next door. You are bullying the demons for not having seen the world. LV Jiangming complained helplessly in his heart, and forgot that he was still in danger. The demon girl's reaction was much more direct. Her eyes glowed red, and her palms and fingers formed claws, and she slapped directly on the top of Lu Changsheng's head. LV Jiangming saw that Boss Lu was about to die, and desperately mobilized the supernatural power in his body, constantly shouting in his heart, hurry up, that the imagined scene of blood and flesh flying did not appear. The demon girl just slapped the air with one claw, staggered 2 steps and almost fell to the ground. Lu Changsheng just appeared in front of Lu Jiangming and the demon girl disappeared. The demon girl was shocked. In her perception, there was no living thing around except the man lying on the ground. The demon girl stood there in a daze, her pupils suddenly shrank, and she silently thought of a possibility in her heart, the reason why she couldn't detect the other party's superpowers. Could it be that the other party's strength was far superior to hers? No way, unless it was a 5th-level awakener who had reached the realm of being able to control superpowers freely. It would be impossible to escape her detection. How could there be a 5th-level awakener in this small Lincheng? Pucci. A cold dagger pierced from the back of her head, penetrated the entire brain, and stabbed out on the forehead. The demon girl's consciousness stopped forever at the last question, and she collapsed to the ground powerlessly, no longer moving. There was still an expression of disbelief on her face. She should be dead this time. Lu Changsheng stared at the corpse on the ground uncertainly. After all, she was lying quietly in the coffin like this yesterday, and today she ran out alive and kicking to kill people. LV Jiangming stared at everything in front of him in amazement, and didn't react for a long time, until Lu Changsheng carried the body of the demon woman. He hurriedly said, "Senior, where are you going to take the demon woman's body?" LV Jiangming's conclusion was the same as the demon woman's. Lu Changsheng was definitely a master above the 5th level, but for some reason, he was not well known and lived in seclusion in Lincheng. Send her on her way. Where else can she go? Lu Changsheng was annoyed because he did not get compensation, and his tone became impatient. "Senior, this sea monster is a wanted criminal by the Demon Slayer Bureau. I'm sorry I can't let you take it away." Although this boss Lu looked a little abnormal and his actions were very ruthless. But Lu Jiangming had a mission to do, so he still stood in front of him. "If you don't let me take it away, how can I get the money from the municipal government? This order is already a loss, and you won't let me get some money back. Will you compensate for the losses?" Lu Changsheng frowned, and he became more and more unhappy. "The law enforcement team is willing to compensate according to the amount that the senior just said." Cold sweat flowed down LV Jiangming's forehead. He didn't know the background of this mysterious man. With the other party's strength, killing him would only take a blink of an eye. He could only gamble. Anyway, as long as he brought the body of the banshee back, he could at least get a bounty of 100,000. He could pay 80,000 to Lu Changsheng, and he would have some money left. He immediately patted his chest and made a promise. Lu Changsheng threw the body on his shoulder, held LV Jiangming's hand, and shook it excitedly. "Sir, I know at a glance that you look like a talented person, and you will never let our store do business at a loss. If I remember correctly, the death rate of the law enforcement team is very high. If you need funeral services in the future, remember to come to me." Changsheng Hall is doing an event recently, and the second monument is half price. Lv Jiangming looked at the face-changing master Lu Changsheng, and couldn't help but start to doubt whether there was something wrong with his judgment. Chapter 10 Lincheng Black Market. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jia, hand me the screwdriver. Lu Changsheng sat on the escalator, pressing the newly installed window with one hand and reaching down with the other. Gu Jia stood on tiptoes, holding the screwdriver in her little hand and stretching it out. Search TWKAN on Google. Crunch, crunch dash. Perfect. Looking at the installed windows, Lu Changsheng clapped his hands with satisfaction and jumped down from the escalator. After landing lightly, he seemed to have remembered something, touched Gu Jia's little head, and warned, "You can't learn this, take the stairs one step at a time, be careful of falling." Gu Jia nodded obediently, easily picked up the escalator, which was taller than her, and put it into the grocery room. Lu Changsheng leisurely returned to his folding chair and checked the income of the mall coins. You taught Gu Jia makeup skills and received 50 mall coins. Through hard training, Gu Jia's innate skill experience increased by 1% and she obtained 20 mall coins. The current progress of Xiantian LV2 is 2%. Total mall coins, 635. How come the dog system's innate skill has increased by 1%? Jia hasn't been lazy these days. The training speed of all skills after LV2 will be greatly reduced. Is there any way to increase the speed of cultivation? Both demon pills and crystal cores can increase the speed of skill cultivation. Thinking of the outrageous prices of crystal cores in the mall, Lu Changsheng felt that he wasn't actually that anxious. I don't want to think about it anymore. The boat will go straight when it reaches the bridge. I have been waiting for it for 3 years, so there is nothing I can't wait for. Go to sleep. I don't know how much time passed. A burst of hurried shouting came from outside the gate, and it sounded familiar. Senior Lu. Are you there? Lu Changsheng raised his head and squinted to see who was coming, and immediately felt no longer sleepy. Potential customers are here. He enthusiastically welcomed Lu Jiangming into the store and asked while pouring tea. Sir, you are here. Do you want to know about the business of our Changsheng Hall today? Is it reserved for yourself, or for consultation with colleagues? Just in time, we have launched a new package business called Pure Land. We invite the most popular girl groups to perform in front of the morning hall. The queue is guaranteed to be full and it is great value for money. Ahem, Boss Lu, you misunderstood. I'm not here to consult on business. Lu Jiangming had a dark look on his face. Based on his understanding of Lu Changsheng, the so-called girl group performance was most likely the ant song and dance troupe at the entrance of the village. Boss Lu, the Monster Slayer department has confirmed the identity of the demon girl you killed last time, and the bonus has been distributed. I specially sent it to you, Boss Lu. After receiving the check handed over by Lu Jiangming, Lu Changsheng's smile became more enthusiastic, but when he saw the number on the amount, he couldn't help but be stunned. Boss Lu, the bounty set by the Demon Slayer division for the 3rd level Banshee is 100,000. I didn't get a single point. It's all here. Lu Changsheng looked at Lu Jiangming with some surprise. In today's world, there are not many people who can show off their wealth and keep their word. This old Lu can handle it. But we agreed on 80,000 yuan. You see, I can't find it. Otherwise, why don't I give you an urn? See the green one? It's pure agate. You can keep it for yourself or give it away. It's very respectable. Lu Changsheng put the check in his arms and enthusiastically pulled Lu Jiangming to the urn. Thank you, Boss Lu. You really don't need it. The life-saving grace is worth more than 20,000 yuan. If Boss Lu needs anything in the future and you need my help, just say so. Lu Jiangming's face turned dark when he looked at the dark green urn painted with inferior paint. He has never heard that agate can fade. Does Boss Lu usually do business like this? No wonder business seems to be so miserable. I really want to ask you about something. Lu Changsheng didn't care whether old Lu was happy or not, he directly picked up the old actor and stuffed it into his arms. I want to buy crystal cores or demon pills, but there is no way. Do you know where I can get them? It's best to get them for free. Lu Jiangming held the small urn, feeling like he was holding a hot potato. He said helplessly, Boss Lu, you need at least a 4th-level demon clan to be able to produce a crystal core, and the crystal core must be self-destructed in the demon clan. Just kill him first. If you want it for free, you can only go to the front line and exchange your military service for crystal cores. Lu Changsheng curled his lips, obviously not interested in this idea. Old Lu, I'm just doing nothing. How can I kill demons? Is there any other way? Lu Jiangming thought for a while and then spoke slowly, then the only way is to go to the black market. A complete crystal core, even the lowest 4th-order crystal core, costs about 250,000 to 300,000, and there are often prices but no market. Although the effect of the demon pill is not as good as that of the crystal core, it is cheaper and more plentiful. On the black market, a demon pill costs about 50,000 yuan. The price is very stable and the supply is guaranteed. If Boss Lu is interested, I will take you around tonight. Maybe you can gain something. Okay. Lao Lu is reliable. Just don't leave. Just stay here to eat. Lu Changsheng rolled up his sleeves and walked to the kitchen. No, I still have official duties, so I won't bother you anymore. I will wait for you at the Nanchao intersection at 10 o'clock in the evening. If there is no one with you, you won't be able to enter the black market. After that, LV Jiangming ran away as if he was running away. He was afraid that after Lu Changsheng finished his meal, he would ask him to take some things back from the store. Really not eating? Let's eat ribs today, Lu Changsheng shouted to the outside of the store while holding the freshly stewed ribs. The only response to him was the whistling sound of the wind. This old Lu is too polite. Sir, is that Uncle Lu doing well? Gu Jia looked at LV Jiangming's running back, with a big puzzle on her small face. Lu Changsheng picked and chose among the ribs, picked up the biggest one, and put it in his apprentice's bowl. Jia, there is no so-called good or bad person in this world. Master is a good person in your eyes, but he may be a bad person in the eyes of others. In the future, you will meet many people and see many things. If you want to know whether a person is trustworthy, then look at what he does, not what he says. Do you understand? Gu Jia nodded as if she understood and stuffed the ribs into her mouth. She smiled sweetly. Master may go out tonight, remember to go to bed early, and don't practice so late. Children can't get enough sleep. But, wet guard, I'm not sleepy. Xiantian Gong is a method of strengthening the body. When practicing, it will not burden the body, but can relieve physical and mental fatigue. The effect is much better than sleep. It's a pity that Lu Changsheng is a freeloader. He has never practiced for a day, so how can he understand the mystery? Children who don't sleep well will be eaten by monsters. Gu Jia looked at her master speechlessly. She was already 12 years old, and she would not believe these lies to deceive children, but she still nodded obediently. Ji is here, wet guard.